Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sports with Monga. It's been a while, but we're back with the Formula One 2024 season has kicked off and is underway. The first race has already ended with Bahrain Grand Prix. There's a lot that's happened, and let's do a quick recap. Testing a week back. The race had ended on a Saturday, not today, not a Sunday. It was on a Saturday. Free practice Thursday, Friday, and it just the whole it was not a sprint race, it was the whole race. But nothing has changed apparently in 2024 except some of the things that have gone completely crazy. The driver market is going to go absolutely bonkers, and it's already started by one and only Lewis Hamilton. He was like, why should I be the one waiting for something to happen and then somebody making a decision for me? I should be taking things in charge. We had a Ferrari announcing, and Lewis Hamilton announcing that he will be joining Ferrari in 2025. That would mean Carlos Sainz is out of Ferrari at the end of this season. Charles Leclerc still keeps his seat. Lando Norris and Piastri have signed a long-term deal at McLaren. Something should be expected there. Or that was on the drivers' market. All the rest, 13 drivers, are basically up at the end of the season. 2026 is it's a new regulation of the engine regulations kicks in. So this is iteration 3 or 4th here, kind of in a way, for the same regulation, for us to see how teams develop more or who gets the best benefit, who benefits the most from their previous year's design, and who is trying to change. We know McLaren benefited a lot last season. It was but Mercedes had to give away from the zero side pod concept and move towards the Red Bull concept of the bathtub in a way. But it's interesting time to see that Red Bull themselves have now moved towards a zero pod. So it's very interesting, like what's happening. Adrian Newey, the genius, the maestro himself, has been kind of all over this. We've had allegations of Christian Horner's behavior from a Red Bull with a Red Bull employee, and there have been investigation. Something just before Bahrain Grand Prix that he was acquitted. There was no problem found in the independent inquiry that was running from a Red Bull HQ in Austria. It was not the team in Berkeley. So that's very interesting. But it seems something is still fishy and up at Red Bull, things that don't seem to be really going well right now in that team, not with drivers, but because of Christian Horner and this overhang of allegations that have been made against him. How does this affect the team? Where does this end up? It's all, I think, going to unfold in the couple of races till we have Saudi next week. But some things more might come up before that as well. There have been leaked texts and so on and so forth. So a lot of conjecture all around what has happened. But coming back to Formula One, the racing part of it, we saw testing in Bahrain a week back. We saw Red Bull were still the ones to beat. Ferrari are the closest challengers. We didn't see Mercedes to be the ones actually pushing the envelope there. McLaren and Aston Martin still a little step behind Ferraris and the Mercedes. The biggest shocker were two, basically, when everybody was hoping for Haas to be the one team that will be at the back of the grid again. But this was a change. It was Alpine, the French team, the team in Enstone, who's just been kind of going through a churn of people. And like, it's just like a brain drain right now, completely with the team principal gone, with new people, with Bruno Fairman coming in. It's kind of weird where they've kind of landed with new investors as well. Maybe they're a team ready for a French Revolution, but then only time will tell. That was a shocking part. It was interesting to see Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda in the RB or V-Carb. That's what they were calling the RB, to kind of compete in the mid pack. So that was, I think they're right behind Aston Martin in that pecking order right now. And behind them, in my mind, is the kick team, the new team that we have, the Stake F1 team that Alfa Romeo is now rebranded as. They're the 7th team in my mind, and then we have Williams, Haas, and Alpine. That's kind of my order right now, what I've understood from the testing. But we have a lot to go through, and that's kind of with a lot to go through the data. It's been interesting to now have seen a race as well. There's a lot of talk around testing. I really wanted to wait and see what really happens in the race to kind of see for sure what's the order, where things end up. And we have now more data. We have more a reality basically of where this settles in. So this is how a Bahrain Grand Prix has ended. It has been Max Verstappen winning the first race in 2024 and continuing his streak of 33 in 2024. Again, his winning streak, his poles, the fastest lap, all of it, the whole shebang was to Max Verstappen's liking. We had Sergio Perez. He was 22 seconds behind Perez, and that is a little alarming. I think Perez has had time to look over his shoulder and understand why did he lose the grip on the championship, which he was possibly contending pretty well against Max Verstappen last year. So he's kind of had to go back, do some homework, understand, analyze his strategies, what mistakes he made, and how can he and the team work with him to minimize those and make him more efficient, make a meaner machine of him. Whereas in my mind, he's a very, very nice guy, but nice guys don't win championships, as we have seen with Lewis Hamilton, as you've seen with Max Verstappen. He will fight they need to fight for every inch of that tarmac. Carlos Sainz, the man on a mission after the Ferrari news. Of course, he's there to prove to everybody what he brings to the table. And he did it perfectly, beating Charles Leclerc, the long-term deal signee for Ferrari, and telling them on their face, basically, hey guys, have you made the right choice here? Carlos Sainz securing the third position. Really, really well done by him. And I think that's one kind of a way to show, that's one way to show how your team is headed, how your team is kind of working towards the game and towards domination as well. So that's kind of interesting in my mind. Of course, there have been things also said around the difference in opinion, the difference in different strategies that they might have been. There was a lot of problems for Carlos, a lot of problems for Max, for Carlos, and for there were some problems for there's some problems for Carlos and for Charles, but then Carlos was able to come up with them, get better with them, but then Leclerc finished fourth. He had a lot of front locking, and that's kind of what is recurring, which they've not improved since last year, but maybe something that they kind of, the Ferrari boys already know what to kind of, how to get out of this. So Leclerc finished fourth, P4. Russell and Norris, close fights. There was chances they might kind of be closer together, but then Russell finished P5, the best of the Mercedes drivers, with Norris P6. Norris was complaining, he almost in the radio at the end of the race did say that it would have been interesting to see how they would have ended if they didn't have issues. There were some issues across for Mercedes as well there, because Russell had to lift and coast a lot because of the engine who had a wrong cooling that they had set up. So basically, when you set up a car, when you set up for the race, you kind of put the cooling package, which is per race, because the temperatures in Bahrain dropped a little later, and that was affecting. That was not kind of accustomed, or there was a mistake. Mercedes, there were cracks. The team has not been winning. There's pressure on everybody to perform, and there were cracks, and that's what was seen. There was cooling problems for Russell. He had to lift and coast. He was losing quite a lot of time on each lap. Norris was trying to kind of catch up, but then at the end, he could not. McLaren on their own have admitted that there have been some mistakes with the setup, some improvements that they could have made and be better, but Bahrain has not been their hunting ground. Bahrain has been always their Achilles heel because of the fast corners, and that's what they don't like. Slow speed corners and fast. So slow speed corners, a mixture of like straights and slow speed, they don't really work with that with that, and it's going to be interesting how they do in Qatar. But you have to understand, McLaren last year were plumb lost with the development cycle that they had to kind of go and then improve. Hamilton, the guy going to Ferrari at the end of the season, P7, he said he was happy, but it just kind of tells me, is he just biding his time? Is he just kind of hoping that he's made the right choice? Because seeing Ferrari top P3, P4, does he feel like, hey guys, I've made my bed here, so I don't really need to care about how Mercedes feel? But then, you know, they're professionals, they will fight to the last tarmac. It won't be like he's just given up. It won't happen like that. That doesn't happen with Hamilton. He always gives his best. Piastri was happy with P8 behind Hamilton. Alonso and Stroll, Aston Martin, everybody expected them to be better, but it's kind of I think they're the fifth team on the grid right now. Lawrence Stroll obviously making most of the effort to kind of bring it back to the top. He is on a mission. He is on a very strict mission in my mind with trying to get Lance to win his first world championship with Aston Martin. But, you know, Fernando Alonso could be also licking his lips here right now. Alonso had a good start. Got off the line very, very well. P9 for him, but Stroll got hit in the first lap. He was facing the wrong side of the track after the end of the first lap in the first corner, when hit by Nico Hülkenberg from behind. But then he made a really, really nice recovery drive to kind of make it to P10. Zhou Guanyu, Kick Sauber, the team, they've done a really, really good job there. As I said, I still feel they're P7 in my team list, like where they stack up right now. But he was the undeniable driver to watch if it was not for Carlos Sainz, in my opinion. Carlos Sainz just kind of took it away. But I think it has been interesting to see how Zhou Guanyu is again starting on a very, very good foot. Of course, his teammate Bottas had a terrible issue again with his tires on the front left. The nut wouldn't come out. They replaced the nut. They replaced the wheel. He lost 54 seconds on that. So it was like it was gone. There was nothing he could do there. Kevin Magnussen finishing P12. That's what I'm saying. The Haas boys didn't look as good as they were, like completely nowhere in the testing, but they look better. I think there's some promising signs after Gunther Steiner was sacked by Gene Haas. And with the technical leadership now, I think there is a chance that they can move forward. Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda. This is going to be a very interesting talk. Ricciardo has made his mind clear. He wants to get into that second Red Bull seat, which I think Perez is under pressure for. But Yuki might have shot himself in the foot with this behavior. He's basically dissented against the team order. He's basically made it very clear he didn't like it. He's made it very, very clear for everybody listening as well that he would do anything to kind of keep himself in front. He will not put team in front. Of course, he had to eventually, but then Ricciardo said he had already lost a lap at the end of the race. Like there's no push mode, but Yuki tries to kind of scare or like does something stupid in my mind for Ricciardo to kind of react, and Ricciardo is smart enough to basically say, "I'm going to take it afterwards, guys. This is just not what the hell is happening here." So clearly, Tsunoda did not like the fact that Ricciardo is now calling the shots. Maybe he's being preferred in some way because he got the optimal strategy. But then, as Ricciardo said later, they had discussed that if he gets on softs, he will have the better strategy to kind of go for more points. Eventually, he could not get Magnussen, but then that's how team behaves. Like they're trying to make the most of what could happen. Ricciardo 13, Tsunoda 14, Albon in the Williams struggling through the whole. It was interesting that their whole the steering wheel. I've never seen a steering wheel have such big bold letters. Car too hot. That's interesting. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, I can't take the car for a wash or like cool it down. What am I supposed to do with it? So that's kind of interesting that they have issues with their dash on the steering wheel. Something for Williams to kind of work towards. Sargent finished 20th. It was very interesting. that he's still making those rookie mistakes. He's still making rookie mistakes. If he just keeps it clean, he has a better chance. But I think Williams will now see the fact that, you know, it's time. They've given him enough time. This is no longer his rookie season. This is the second season. He's made the same mistakes. He's you know, and James Vowles, you know, as long as he keeps giving him trust, you know, you have to give it back as well. It's a very hard sport to be, with so many drivers also waiting in the wings to kind of get a chance in Formula One. It just becomes more and more hard. Hulkenberg finishing a P16. He had a damaged front wing after that contact with Lance Stroll. But 17-18 for Alpine boys, Ocon and Gasly. Ocon more positive, saying it's the first round, guys. I have faith in you and I hope that you will make it. So there is a problem in the whole team currently, and I think this will be one of those hardest seasons for the French team to kind of get something out of the season, in my opinion. Bottas has said already 19, and that's the lot. 1 to 20. This is how it stacked up in Bahrain. I think it's going to be very interesting. I think the race was pretty boring in my mind. That's kind of how I would sum it up. There were a little inter-team battles, like things, people getting some more testing done with the long runs, with the long pace. But it's just same order. Max Verstappen, 26 points, Perez, 18. So it's nothing has changed here. I think they've kind of kept the same way. Of course, first points from the top five. As I said, it's Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, McLaren, Aston Martin. That's the order I see them finishing as well, unless somebody makes a bigger step. And yeah, in my mind, Kick Sauber, Haas, RB, Williams, Alpine. I still feel RB is better than the Haas's that we might see, but it'll be an interesting mid-table battle between RB and Kick Sauber. Alpine, I expect them to be the last, but Williams and Haas will be the fighting for the seventh or the eighth and ninth spot in my mind. That's kind of the race review done. We have the first race done. Qatar is next, and it's going to be very interesting because the season just gets better right now, right? Because the season is on my mind. It's a 24 race calendar. There's a lot that needs to happen. There are a lot of races. It's a busy schedule. Qatar next, 7th to 9th March. So do stay tuned. I will be possibly doing a race reaction video as well. I might do a live watch along. I'm just thinking what we can do. So there's a lot more content of Formula One coming through your way. I might also be doing a small review of the Netflix. I don't know if you've seen the season 6 Drive to Survive. There's a lot of news coming from Christian Horner story, so that might kind of come up as well. So loads of content for you. 7th to 9th is a Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. There's a week off, and then we head to Australia, Japan, and then a week off to China with a triple header, I think. With a triple header in China, Miami, Italy, and Monaco. So it's going to be back to back. It's going to be very interesting how this kind of shapes up. There's a lot happening. 24 races, a big stacked up calendar. We're starting on 7th. We've already done the 29th of Feb, a leap year, the 2nd of March, and the season ends on 6th to 8th of December in Abu Dhabi, Formula One, Etihad Airways, Abu Dhabi Grand Prix 2024. Let me know in the comment section what do you think. Who will win this championship? I'm not going to call it yet. I want to see a couple of more races to see what's happening. I don't think Ferrari has the pace or the race pace to get what they need, but never say never. Ferrari boys can do anything. There's a better strategy for the new Ferrari bosses who made the move, and also now 2025. It's going to be interesting for everybody to see. Fred was now kind of making this choice to kind of get Lewis Hamilton as well. Let me know in the comment section below. What do you think? Do like this video, guys. I would appreciate you to subscribe the channel. I've understood that almost 96% of you love the videos. I love my shorts. but I'm not seeing the lot of subscription as well. So I love a subscribe button. If you'll watch this till now, let me know in the comment section what do you think I should do more. If you have any comments, if you have any feedback, all up for it. And I see you in the next one.